Hey y'all. Let's try that again. Hey y'all, welcome back to Soulful Tea. And on this episode, I'm gonna be folding some laundry and I am going to update you guys on what I've been up to, how I've been taking care of my mental health, and all the shenanigans that comes with it. So 3 months ago, I literally just resigned. I wouldn't even say it was resigning. I just stopped having clients. I was a caregiver here in Columbia, South Carolina, and I just stopped having clients basically. Perfectly fine because I tell you, when one door closes, another door opens. I have been in a healthy mental space, Now, y'all, this is not my first time leaving a job. This probably won't be my last time leaving a job. But I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I love how this generation is not what the BS. We do not have to deal with what our parents had to deal with. We do not have to deal with what our grandparents had to deal with. And it's a revolution. And I love it. I love this for us. As a caregiver, whew, I don't recommend it. It's work that is underappreciated. It's kind of like teaching. And I've always been a caring person. I've always been a helping person. That's just in me. But I've experienced children's parents not appreciate the work that I'm actually putting in, that they should be putting in when it comes to their own kids or their own children. I had a parent who was going through depression, and when the mother of a child is not in a healthy state, the child suffers. When the mother of a child is unhappy, is miserable, is sad, is depressed, maybe battling with some other mental illnesses like bipolar, the child suffers. This little boy was the sweetest kid he could be. And he was speech delayed. He was 4 years old and couldn't speak. I observe a lot and I try to give advice, especially to my peoples. I'm folding my dress, but I try to give advice to my people. The advice that I would want somebody to give me is the advice that I give others. From the moment he woke up in the morning time, and that was usually 8:30, 9 o'clock, to the moment he went to bed, which was 9:30, 10 o'clock, he was watching TV. It is not until I stepped in and started to take him to the park, started to take him to the library, started to take him to certain little pizzerias because he loved pizza, that he actually began to be around people outside of just his mother and his quote unquote father. And the reason why I put quotes, because the man never really spent time with him. And when he did spend time with him, it was always like scolding him. By the time, I would say about a month in to working with this family, this kid was able to say certain words like, hey, hello, how are you? Good morning. And it's sad to say that some mothers don't even want their children to succeed. They want to hinder the child so that they have company in their old age. This is all just my opinion. This is all just based on what I observed when going into people's homes in which they were raising children. I don't care what nobody say. This is my personal opinion. If you have children and your children are in front of the TV for more than an hour, 2 hours at a time, that is neglect. There is no way that a child should just be sitting consuming garbage and you don't think that they're not going to be able to reach certain milestones. It should be considered neglect if you have a child and your child is just sitting all day watching TV. That's my opinion, and I stand by it. So I was working with children, and the moment I set boundaries, the moment I was like, hey, this is not in my contract. I do not get paid to be going grocery shopping for your entire household. I'm not doing it. That's when it became a problem. People love to take advantage. People love to take advantage. And the moment you say, nope, that ain't happening, that's when you start to see another side of people. The second client I had was a little girl who had a feeding tube, extremely bright, came from an upper class family. Mom was the breadwinner, and she worked for the government. Beautiful house, 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a huge backyard. The kids were well fed. And this little girl just needed companionship. But then I realized that there was a lot of neglect happening as well. One day, the little girl came home, and she was 4 going on 5 when I met them. She didn't know how to properly wipe her bottom, and she would scream, literally yell for her mom to come to help her. Mom would literally ignore her. Y'all, if I could post certain footages that I have without violating people's privacy, a lot of people will be ashamed. But I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to share my experience as a caregiver. The little girl one day was screaming and screaming and screaming for her mother to come to help her wipe her butt. And I offered to do it because as a caregiver, you know, that is a part of your job, helping the child with hygiene. She didn't want my help. And I could understand, this is a stranger. We're not family. You don't know me. I want my mom, right? I'm 4 years old. I want my mom. I trust my mom. Mom didn't come. The little girl stayed on that toilet for about 15, 20 minutes. And eventually she started to cry. Mom was, I don't even know what mom was doing. She wasn't working. So let me make that clear. And the little girl was just crying. Dad was in his own world. So that's when I realized a lot of neglect happens in these homes. Whether you are poor, whether you are rich, if you don't intentionally take care of your children, the children will suffer. There is no way in hell that my child is calling me and my ass is not going to get up and run to see what the hell is going on, what you need. It's no way. And I get it. Parents get tired. But when you have a child, you just can't clock out and clock back in when you want to clock back in. That's not how it works. So for 3 months, I have not heard from the company, and I was okay with that. My last client, before I realized, like, you know, this isn't for me, was an older woman in her 60s. She started off as a great person, able to talk to her, get advice about like marriage because she was married twice. And then all of a sudden, it goes back to people having this entitlement and mentality that they can take advantage of you. I'm 32 years old, and nobody walking this earth is going to take advantage of me. I've been through too much. I have a lot of life experience, and I'm only 32. And that is something I had to tap into, because before I used to be, you know, allowing people to just walk over me, trying to keep the peace. suppressing how I felt about certain things. And then I realized in the end, I'm the one that's suffering. I'm the one that's being used and abused and tossed to the side. So this older lady began to try to take advantage of me, and I had to put a quick stop to that. And the moment I put a quick stop to that, that's when she called the agency and told the agency that she didn't want me back at her house. Mind you, this lady, we would go grocery shopping together. And there was a time where she needed like certain things in her house and she didn't have enough money or enough food stamps. And I would go into my pocket and help her because that's what Black people need to do. That's literally how I was raised. If you have the means to help another Black person, you should help them. After a while, the entitlement started kicking in. It was the let me take advantage of this young girl. She looks upon me as a mom, as a grandma. She has a lot of respect. And then when I said, no, I'm not doing that. Now, if you want me to go along with you, then sure. But I'm not a chauffeur. I'm not chauffeuring you around in my vehicle when you have your own damn vehicle. We're not doing that. Especially because the company didn't even want to pay me mileage. Another thing, this lady would go to food pantries, didn't really need the food, and just hoarder the food. And I learned something new. She said to me, you need to sign up so that you can take some of this food. And if you don't take the food with you, I can keep the food in my house. So one day, I was just tired. I was exhausted. I was just like, I'll go with you to this food pantry, but I don't need the food. Like, I don't need the food at all. And a lot of the times the food would go in the trash can. Because one, it was overly processed. Two, it was a lot of meat. I don't eat meat. I don't eat meat. I've been a pescatarian for over 20 years now. I don't eat meat. It's not in me to eat it. And a lot of the stuff would be expired. So no, you're not about to fill my vehicle up with this clutter. After that situation where I was just like, no, I'm good. I don't want any food from the pantry. Everything went downhill. We were good when I was doing things for you. We were good when I would help you out. We were good when we were driving around in my vehicle, when I was dropping you off at the doctor's appointment, when I was coming to pick you up to take you home. We were good. But the moment I say, no, I can't do that, or I don't want to do that, you see another side of people. So caregiving is not for me. If it's not a family member, if it's not a child of my own, I'm not being anybody's caregiver, because I feel that people do not have morals, a value system, or principles that they follow. So they feel as if they can just treat you any kind of way. And you're just supposed to accept it. Another thing that I noticed while being a caregiver is how people view you because you are a caregiver. They look at you as if you are in desperate need for money. You are in desperate need for money. That's why you took this job. I remember one of my clients' mom being surprised that I'm working on a master's degree in developmental psychology. And then her whole entire attitude began to change once she realized that I have a lot more going on for myself outside this job. Mind you, y'all, I was working part-time. This wasn't no full-time job for me. No matter how much money you make or how little you make, do not allow people to just treat you any kind of way. You deserve respect. And people only respect people who respect themselves. I'm going to say it again. People only respect people who respect themselves. So the company would reach out to me and I would tell my side of the story. In the beginning, they were very nice. They were like, you know, you like family. The guy who him and his wife owned the business, he was like, you remind me so much of my grandma. They were really, really nice people. But I noticed the population of people that they work with. And I realized that it ain't for me. It's just not for me. So in the last 3 months, I was able to literally focus on myself. I was able to continue with my college courses, which I am enjoying because it's definitely aligned with my purpose and what I plan to do in the future. I was able to work on some personal things that I had put to the side because I wanted to, make some money, make my own money. But in this day and time, y'all, if you do not have to be at a job that's making you just miserable, then don't. If you don't have to be around certain people who just strips you away from your happiness, then don't. At a very early age, my dad said, avoidance is best. Avoidance is best. And I stand by that. Got another story time for you guys. I'm gonna continue to fold these clothes and I'm gonna talk to you guys on the next one.
That we have fight this war, you find say it's not just a war of survival, it's a war of survival of a people.